The sun peeked through the curtains, casting warm light across the kitchen. It was our favorite time of day, the morning ritual that filled our home with laughter and dreams. I could hear Ethan humming a tune, a song we both loved. As I stirred the eggs, I smiled, feeling a sense of peace enveloping me. But little did I know, this perfect morning was about to unravel. "Do you think we'll ever get that cabin by the lake?" I asked, glancing at Ethan. His eyes sparkled with excitement. "Of course! Just think of it, us sitting on the porch, watching the sunset. It'll be perfect," he replied, his voice filled with warmth. I imagined it vividly, a cozy cabin, the two of us wrapped in blankets, laughing and sharing stories. My heart raced with joy as I plated the breakfast. I was lost in the dream of our future, completely unaware that my world was about to shatter. The smell of coffee filled the air, comforting and familiar as I turned to set the table. Then I heard the sound that changed everything, a soft giggle coming from behind me. I froze. It was a sound that did not belong in our home. I turned slowly, my heart pounding, and there he was. Ethan, with a woman I had never seen before, leaning in close, sharing a moment I thought was ours. Time slowed as I stood there, my mind racing. How could this happen? My heart sank, and the warmth of the morning vanished. I felt the sharp sting of betrayal hit me like a cold wave. My breath caught in my throat, and the questions flooded my mind. "Ethan?" I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. He turned, surprise etched on his face, and for a moment, everything seemed to hang in the air. He started, but the words faded as I stepped back, the reality crashing down around me. How could the man I trusted betray me so completely? The laughter we shared just moments ago felt like a cruel joke. My heart raced, not with joy, but with a mixture of anger and disbelief. I wanted to scream, to shake him, to demand answers. "Who is she?" I asked, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. Ethan opened his mouth, but no words came. The woman smiled awkwardly, and I felt a rush of emotions: anger, sadness, confusion. I was trapped in a whirlwind of feelings that threatened to pull me under. "I can explain," Ethan finally said, his voice shaky. "Explain what? That you're cheating on me?" I felt the heat rising in my cheeks. "How long has this been going on?" "Please, just let me—" "No," I interrupted, the surge of betrayal fueling my voice. "You don't get to make this easy for yourself. You've shattered everything we built together." The silence stretched between us, heavy with tension. I could see the regret in his eyes, but it didn't matter. I needed answers. I needed to understand how he could do this to me. "Did my love mean nothing to you?" I asked, the pain evident in my voice. Ethan looked down, avoiding my gaze. "It's complicated." "Complicated?" I echoed, incredulous. "You call this complicated? It's betrayal." As the reality of the situation sank in, I felt my world flip upside down. The dreams we shared, the promises we made, they all felt like a lie. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, but the questions echoed in my mind. How could I have missed the signs? How could I have been so blind? In that moment, I realized that the illusion of happiness I had built with Ethan was nothing more than a fragile facade. The laughter, the dreams, everything was now tainted by betrayal. I stood there, feeling lost, my heart heavy with sorrow. What was I going to do now? The answers felt just out of reach, and I was left standing in the ruins of my perfect life. I sit on the edge of my bed, surrounded by silence, my mind a storm of emotions. Anger bubbles just beneath the surface, mixed with the sadness that feels like a heavy blanket over my shoulders. I feel lost, unsure of who I am without Ethan. What did I do wrong? I whisper to myself, hoping that the question will somehow lead me to an answer. As I stare at the wall, flashes of memories invade my thoughts. There was the time Ethan canceled our weekend trip at the last minute because work came up. I brushed it off then, but now it feels like a warning I ignored. Why didn't I see the signs? I mutter, clenching my fists in frustration. It's as if every moment of laughter and joy we shared is now tainted by doubt. I remember the way he would look at his phone when I entered the room, quickly changing the screen as if he was hiding something. I should have questioned it, but I didn't want to believe that my perfect life could have cracks. I shake my head, trying to clear the thoughts that swirl around, but they only grow louder. You were so blind, I scold myself, feeling the sting of regret. You let him take advantage of your love. My heart aches as I think about how much I gave to him, how I put my dreams aside for hours. I thought love was about sacrifice, but now it feels like I sacrificed myself. A voice in my head tells me that I deserve better, but another voice whispers, "What if he never loved you at all?" I feel the weight of that thought, pressing down on me like a heavy stone. I want to scream, to lash out, to make him feel the pain he caused me. Revenge begins to creep into my mind like a dark fog. What if I made him regret everything? I imagine saying to my reflection in the mirror. What if I showed him that I am worth more than he thought? The idea sends a rush of adrenaline through me, but it's quickly followed by doubt. Is this really who I want to be? I find myself pacing the room, the tension in my body building. My heart races as I think about confronting him, about making him understand the depth of his betrayal. But what if it changes me? I ask aloud, hoping for an answer that doesn't come. I don't want to become someone I despise. I don't want to lose myself even more. Suddenly, my phone buzzes, breaking the suffocating silence. It's a message from Sarah, the woman I never wanted to know. "Can we talk?" it reads. I stare at the screen, my heart pounding. Part of me wants to ignore it, to pretend she doesn't exist. But another part of me feels a strange pull to understand. What does she have to say? I wonder. After a long moment, I respond, "Sure." When? I feel a mix of anger and curiosity. I want to confront her, to demand answers, but I also want to know her side of the story. Maybe, just maybe, it will help me make sense of everything. When we finally meet, my heart races as I sit across from her. "Why did you do it?" I ask, my voice shaking. She looks at me, her eyes wide with surprise. "I didn't know about you," she says softly. "I thought he was single." I feel a rush of conflicting emotions. "You didn't think to ask?" I snap, my anger bubbling to the surface. "You didn't think to check?" "I was just looking for love," she replies, her voice trembling. "I didn't mean to hurt you." Her vulnerability catches me off guard. "You're just as lost as I am," I realize. We share a moment of silence, and I see the pain in her eyes, a reflection of my own. In that moment, I understand that revenge won't heal my wounds. I want to scream at Ethan, but I also want to reclaim my worth. As I leave the coffee shop, I realize that I need to confront my own feelings first. I can't let anger consume me. I need to find a way to heal, to rediscover who I am beyond this heartbreak. I never imagined I would find myself sitting across from Sarah, the woman who had shattered my world. As I looked at her, I felt a strange mix of anger and curiosity. I wanted to understand how someone like her could become a part of my life in such a painful way. "Why did you choose to be with him?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly. Sarah looked down at her hands, her fingers twisting nervously. "I didn't choose him over you. I didn't even know you existed at first. Ethan, he has a way of making you feel special. He made me believe I was the only one." Her words hit me like a wave. I thought about how Ethan had done the same to me. The charm, the smiles, the promises, they all felt like a beautiful dream. But now that dream was nothing but a nightmare. "Did you ever think he could be lying?" I pressed, feeling the anger bubbling inside me. "Didn't you notice anything strange?" Sarah sighed, her eyes filling with tears. "I did, but I wanted to believe him. I wanted to feel loved. I thought I could change things, make it better. I thought he loved me." We both sat in silence for a moment, the weight of our shared pain hanging in the air. I realized we were not so different after all. We both craved love and acceptance, and we both had fallen for Ethan's lies. "Do you know what he did to me?" I asked, my voice softer now. She nodded, wiping her tears. "He told me things about you. He made you sound perfect. I thought I was just a fling." I looked at her, seeing the hurt in her eyes. "You were not just a fling. You were a part of his game." As we talked, I felt my anger shifting. I was no longer just a victim. I was starting to see Sarah as someone who was also caught in Ethan's web. "It's hard to accept that he played us both," I said quietly. "I know," Sarah replied, her voice shaking. "I trusted him. I let my heart lead me. And now, I feel so lost." "Do you think he even cares about us?" I asked, my heart aching at the thought. "I don't know," she said, looking away. "Maybe he cares about himself more than anyone else. It's hard to tell with someone like him." The conversation opened a door I didn't expect. I began to see Ethan not just as the man who betrayed me, but as someone who hurt both of us. My feelings of pity mixed with anger. I wanted to scream at him for the pain he caused, but I also felt a strange sense of connection with Sarah. "Maybe we should do something," I suggested suddenly. "Maybe we can hold him accountable together." Sarah looked at me, surprise etched on her face. "What do you mean?" "I mean, instead of seeking revenge, we could confront him together. We could show him the damage he has done." Her eyes lit up for a moment, but then the doubt returned. "But what if it backfires? What if he just manipulates us again?" I thought about it. "He might try, but we have each other now. We both know the truth. We can face him together." "I like that idea," she said, a small smile breaking through her tears. "I want him to know how he hurt us. I want him to see the pain he caused." As we continued to talk, I began to feel a sense of strength rising within me. This unexpected alliance with Sarah was not what I had planned, but it felt right. We were two women who had been wronged, and together, we could find a way to reclaim our power. In that moment, I realized that this journey was not just about revenge. It was about understanding, healing, and finding my own voice again. I was ready to take the next step, not just for myself, but for both of us. As I left Sarah's home that day, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this unexpected friendship could lead us both to a brighter future, one where we could break free from Ethan's hold and find our own happiness. The day I had both dreaded and anticipated arrived with a heavy sky, mirroring the storm brewing in my heart. I knew I had to confront Ethan, to face the man who had shattered my world. My mind raced as I prepared for what felt like a monumental moment. I took a deep breath and reminded myself that I needed to speak my truth. As I walked into the room where we had shared countless memories, I felt the weight of the silence pressing down on me. Ethan sat on the edge of the couch, his eyes wide with confusion. The instant he saw me, I could tell he sensed something was wrong. "Hey, what's going on?" he asked, his voice shaky. I took a moment to collect my thoughts, feeling the anger and pain bubbling just beneath the surface. "We need to talk, Ethan, about what happened." His expression shifted. "I know I messed up. I didn't mean for it to happen like this." I felt a rush of heat at his words. Didn't mean for what to happen? To betray me? To throw away everything we built together? He looked down, his hands clenched tightly in his lap. I was confused. "I didn't think about how it would hurt you." Stop, I interrupted, my voice rising. "You don't get to make excuses for your actions. You broke my heart, and I deserve to know why." Ethan's eyes filled with regret, and I could see the remorse etched on his face. "I know, and I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you." "Your sorry doesn't change what you did," I replied, my voice steadier now. "I need you to understand the pain your betrayal caused me. It felt like a knife twisting in my chest." He nodded, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I can't even imagine how you feel. I wish I could take it back." I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of my emotions crashing over me. "You took my love for granted, Ethan. You were supposed to be my partner, my best friend. And instead, you chose someone else." Silence filled the room, thick and uncomfortable. I could see the realization washing over him, and for a moment I felt a flicker of satisfaction. But that feeling quickly faded, replaced by a deeper need. "I'm not here to hurt you," I continued, my voice softer now. "I'm here to find closure, to understand why you did this." Ethan looked up, his eyes meeting mine with a mixture of shame and vulnerability. "I was lost. I thought I needed something different, but I see now that I was wrong." "Do you even realize how much your actions have changed me?" I asked, my voice breaking slightly. "I don't even recognize myself anymore. I thought I was happy." His expression shifted, as if he finally understood the gravity of his actions. "I never wanted to destroy your happiness. I didn't know what I wanted." The truth hung heavy between us. I felt the urge for revenge creeping back in, but I knew deep down that it wouldn't heal my wounds. "I don't want to be this person, Ethan. I don't want to seek revenge. What I truly crave is acknowledgement. I need you to see my worth." Ethan's gaze softened, and he nodded slowly. "I see you. I see the incredible person you are and how much I've hurt you. I wish I could change everything." In that moment, I realized I didn't need his validation to reclaim my worth. It was time to let go of the anger that had consumed me. I wanted to heal, to find peace within myself rather than clinging to the pain of betrayal. "I hope one day you can truly understand the impact of your choices," I said quietly. "But right now, I just need to move forward." As I turned to leave, I felt a sense of weight lifting off my shoulders. I was no longer the woman defined by Ethan's betrayal. I was reclaiming my narrative, step by step. The confrontation had not brought me the satisfaction I thought I would find, but it had given me something much more valuable: the first step towards closure. After the confrontation, I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. I had spoken my truth to Ethan, but now I was left with the aftermath. I took a deep breath and decided it was time to embark on a journey of self-discovery. I needed to find the woman I was before Ethan's betrayal. The first step was to focus on self-care. I realized I had neglected myself for too long. I started small. Every morning I woke up earlier to enjoy a quiet cup of coffee on the balcony. The sun would rise, casting a warm glow that made me feel a little lighter. "This is nice," I whispered to myself, a small smile creeping onto my face. One Saturday, I decided to visit a local art class I had always wanted to join. As I walked into the studio, the smell of paint and clay filled the air. It felt like home. "Hi, I'm Mia," I said to a woman setting up her easel. She looked up and smiled. "Nice to meet you, Mia. I'm Clara. Are you new to painting?" she asked. "Yeah, I've wanted to try it for a long time, but I never made the time," I admitted, feeling a little shy. "Trust me, you're going to love it. Just have fun with it," she encouraged. As I picked up a paintbrush for the first time, I felt a sense of freedom wash over me. Each stroke on the canvas became a release for my pent-up emotions. I painted not just the colors I saw, but the feelings I had buried. I poured my heart into the art, and with each session, I felt stronger and more connected to myself. During one of our breaks, Clara asked, "What inspired you to start painting?" I hesitated for a moment. I guess I wanted to find myself again after, well, a tough time, I replied, looking down at my hands. I understand. Art can be healing, she said softly. Her words resonated with me. I realized that I was not alone in my struggle, and that gave me strength. As weeks passed, I began to reconnect with other passions I had set aside. I found joy in cooking again, experimenting with recipes I had long ignored. I laughed as I burned my first attempt at homemade bread, the smoke filling my kitchen. Maybe I should stick to takeout, I joked to myself, shaking my head. But I didn't give up. I tried again and again, and soon I was baking bread that actually tasted good. One evening, I invited Clara over to share a meal. As we sat at my small dining table, I felt a warmth spread through me. This is delicious, Mia. You really are talented, she said, taking another bite of the pasta I had made. Thanks. I've missed cooking. It feels good to create something, I said, my heart swelling with pride. Creating is what makes us whole, Clara replied, looking me in the eyes. You're on the right path, Mia. With every passing day, I slowly began to reclaim my identity. I remembered the woman I used to be, strong, creative, and full of life. The scars from my past still lingered, but they were no longer a source of shame. Instead, they became reminders of my strength and resilience. I had survived betrayal, and now I was thriving. One afternoon, as I sat in the park, I watched families and friends gather, laughing and enjoying each other's company. I felt a sense of peace. I no longer sought validation from Ethan or anyone else. My worth was inherent, and I began to see that clearly. Hey, Mia! A voice called out. It was Sarah, the woman who had once been the source of my pain. Hi, Sarah. What brings you here? I asked, surprised but curious. I was just taking a walk. How have you been? She said, her tone friendly. I've been good, actually. Focusing on myself, I replied, feeling a sense of liberation in my words. That's great to hear. I'm glad you're finding your way, she smiled. In that moment, I realized that I had truly moved on. I could be happy without the weight of resentment holding me back. As I walked away from that encounter, I knew I was on a journey, one that was leading me back to myself. I was learning to embrace who I was, scars and all, and the future began to look a little brighter. As I stepped out of the shadows of my past, I felt the sun warm my face, a gentle reminder that life continues even after heartbreak. I had started to build a new routine, one filled with small joys that reminded me of who I truly was. The mornings were quieter now, but they were filled with hope. I decided to reconnect with my old friends, those I had drifted away from during my time with Ethan. One Saturday afternoon, I met with Clara, a friend from college. We sat at our favorite cafe, the scent of fresh coffee swirling around us. I can't believe it's been so long, Clara said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I know. I missed this, I replied, smiling. I missed us. As we talked, I could feel a weight lifting from my shoulders. It felt good to open up about my experiences, to share my journey of healing. Clara listened intently, her expressions shifting from concern to encouragement. I'm proud of you, she said softly. You are stronger than you think. Those words resonated within me. Just a few months ago, I couldn't have imagined sitting here, discussing my feelings so openly. I was starting to embrace this new chapter of my life, where I could be honest with myself and others. Later that week, I signed up for a pottery class. I had always wanted to try it, but never found the time. As I sat at the wheel, the clay spinning beneath my hands, I felt a sense of peace. It was therapeutic, molding something with my own hands. I smiled as I shaped the clay, imagining what I could create. Looks like you're a natural, the instructor, a cheerful woman named Lisa, said as she walked by. Thank you. This is my first time, I replied, laughing a little at my own excitement. First time? You have a good touch. Just keep practicing, and you'll make beautiful things, she encouraged, her smile warm and welcoming. I left that class feeling accomplished, my heart lighter. Each small victory reminded me that I was reclaiming my life, piece by piece. As the days turned into weeks, I continued to nurture my friendships and explore new interests. I went on hikes with Clara, enjoyed movie nights with Sarah, and even dived into new books that opened my mind to different perspectives. The laughter we shared filled the empty spaces Ethan had left behind. One evening, while sitting on my couch with Sarah, we watched a movie that made us both laugh until our sides hurt. I can't remember the last time I laughed like this, I admitted, wiping tears from my eyes. Me neither, Sarah replied, her face glowing from the joy of the moment. It's nice to feel free, isn't it? Yes, I said, a smile spreading across my face. It really is. With every laugh and every shared moment, I felt the healing deepening within me. I started to understand that forgiveness was not about Ethan. It was for me. Holding on to anger only weighed me down. One quiet night, I sat on my balcony, the stars twinkling above me. I took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill my lungs. It was a moment of reflection. I whispered to myself, I forgive you, Ethan. Not because you deserve it, but because I do. The words felt powerful. I was letting go of the pain, the betrayal, and the hurt. I was reclaiming my worth, dancing on the edge of a new beginning. In the weeks that followed, I celebrated each moment that made me feel alive. Whether it was a phone call with a friend, a day spent in nature, or simply enjoying a good book, I learned to find joy in the smallest things. I realized that I was deserving of love and happiness, not because of anyone else, but because of who I was becoming. I was crafting a new narrative for my life, one that would not be defined by betrayal, but by resilience and strength. As I embraced these new beginnings, I felt a sense of freedom. My journey was just starting, and I was ready to write the next chapter of my life, one filled with hope, laughter, and endless possibilities. Share this story if you believe that healing and new beginnings can emerge from the toughest challenges. Leave a comment about a moment of joy that helped you reclaim your happiness, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this one.